Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Chris Taylor, and I am the advocate of the devil. Being an adult is hard. You need a job to pay rent and bills. You need to buy and cook your own food. And if you're like me and are, well, not the healthiest eater on the planet, you're gonna have to schedule your own doctor's appointments too. The point is, you're always gonna be so busy with living your life that you might not necessarily have time for your favorite hobbies. Mine happens to be writing for this show and gaming. Lately, it's been more the former than the latter that I can actually do. On the bright side, it takes me an hour and a half to public transit my way to my full-time non-YouTube work. Yes, there is a bright side to that. Handheld gaming! And despite doing an episode already about mobile gaming, let's face facts here, there's one game company that's managed to stay in the mobile market, and that is Nintendo. Nowadays, we get 3D with our system, but even before that, with systems like Game Boy Advance and the Nintendo DS, all quality game systems, and not a single company has managed to compete with the likes of the Big N as it pertains to this aspect of gaming. But here's the thing. There is one system that didn't just manage to go toe-to-toe with Nintendo, but managed to make a high-quality, versatile, dare I say, excellent handheld system. And that is Sony, with their PSP. Right here in 2017, we are so spoiled for choice and technological advances. The phones that we carry around in our pockets do more than just make calls. They can take photos and record movies, and play games. We need one device to do damn near everything.
Jack of all trades, master at none.
But that's now, in 2017. The PSP was a system that was released in 2005, and that's over a decade ago! I truly think that we take for granted just how quickly technology has advanced. Since back when the PSP was first released, it was the first of its kind to do all sorts of things right out of the box. Want to listen to music? Plug in a USB cord from the system to your computer and copy it on over. Have photos you want to show to all your friends? Do the same thing, just copy and paste it right into the same folder. The PSP wasn't just a game system, it was a multimedia tool that allowed you to do just about everything at once. Well, one thing at a time, but at least it was a start. But that's all well and good as a bonus feature. After all, this is supposed to be a game system, and any system will live and die by the library of games available to it. The one thing that I will say, UMDs are strange. There's these tiny little CDs that come encased in a plastic holder, and yeah, when I first got a hold of one, I almost broke it. No joke, I was trying to take the CD out of the holder, and well, thankfully I didn't get too far before I tried to just put it in as it was, and it worked like a charm.
Because you're a genius.
I first got mine as a birthday gift in April of the year it launched, and it came with a demo disc. Wow, anybody else remember demo discs? Anyways, a UMD version of Spider-Man 2 and Gretzky NHL, which as a Canadian should have been fun, but, well, I'm not actually much of a sports fan. Over the course of the system's lifespan, I've amassed a collection of over 100 games, and that's just counting the ones I own physically. More on that in a moment. Racing games, RPGs, platformers, you name it, and I probably own it. On the message boards around this time, I kept seeing this referred to as the PlayStation 1.5, and that's a highly accurate statement to make. From a graphical standpoint, that's pretty much what this console was, and the wide assortment of games helped solidify it in my mind as one of the greats. Now that's not to say that there weren't problems either. Namely, there was only one control stick instead of the two that we've all grown accustomed to at this point, but that just means that game publishers had to get creative with how their games controlled.
What's your favorite idea? Mine is being creative.
Besides, the right stick, the one that was missing here, normally would be used to control the camera. The camera was programmed properly, not an issue. The other issue, however, is the battery life. The PSP was notorious for not lasting long enough for extended play sessions. And while at the time with the Game Boy Advance and the Nintendo DS both lasting maybe 8 hours depending on the game, the PSP having less than half that is just depressing. But then there's the factor of it being the first of its kind. Not only for Sony bringing out a handheld, not only for the amount of things that the system could do, but also for the way that you could play. See, it was late in the PSP's timeline when Sony released a new version, the PSP Go. All the same functionality, but in a smaller, foldable format, and no UMDs. See, the PSP wasn't just the first to be a multimedia console. It was also the first handheld that you could play games digitally instead of just on a proprietary format like the UMD. So if you went to your local game store and saw, well, I don't know, Grand Theft Auto Liberty City Stories being sold for $30, then you went home, connected to your Wi-Fi, and saw the same game on the Sony store for much less. Options, ladies and gents. More than just different ways of playing its own games, but in other digital offerings as well. There were PSP minis, cheap little games that could be jumped into and out of at a moment's notice. Some of them were fun, but that's not what I'm actually referencing here. PS1 Classics. The entire collections of the original Crash Bandicoot and Spyro and Tomb Raider, just about every Final Fantasy up to 9, and Tactics. Not only did the PSP have a slew of its own games, but it had a metric ton of PS1 games to choose from as well. All classics. Now the bad news, of course, is that now you can't access it. You can't log into the PlayStation Store straight from the PSP. But you can access it through a PS3, which you can then take that controller's charge cable, hook it up to your Sony handheld, and transfer it that way. Despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary, I do hope I managed to shed some light into the ways that Sony's first handheld actually put up a fight next to the juggernaut that is Nintendo. Whether it be in all the different extra things you can do with your console, or even just the lineup of solid titles available, all on its own, the PSP at the time was a force to be reckoned with. And while physical copies of its games grow increasingly more difficult to acquire, digitally they are still available to those who have that option. At least until Sony closes the shop down. As always, don't forget to hit that subscribe button to keep up with everything we do here at Devious Advocacy. And if you want to talk to us directly, you can by going to our Discord channel, which you can find a link to in the description below. Now I want to send a personal thank you to all of our patrons. It's been a long road thus far, but the support from you guys is so much more than just appreciated. And finally, and most importantly, let us know in the comments below what you think. Does Nintendo rule the handheld market, even in the mid-2000s when the PSP launched? Maybe there's another handheld console you like too. By all means, let your own views clash with my own, so that I may proceed to prove you wrong.
I drink, and I know things.
But for now, in the case of Sony's PlayStation Portable, the defense rests.
Hey, that's Bob.
What?
Have you ever invaded anywhere?
Oh, yeah, man. I invaded this guy's privacy once. I snuck up on him real good.
You what?
I snuck.
Snuck?
Yeah, snuck.
Is that even a word?
Yeah, you know, it's like before you sneak up on someone, you're getting ready to sneak, and as you're sneaking up on them, well, you're sneaking. But once you finish sneaking, you snuck.
And then you're snacking?
Snucking? I just snuck over there and slap you.